All right, we are live.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
Mm-mm.
Hi, everybody.
There's nobody watching.
Nobody's
yet.
there, right?
The little viewer icon says 0.
Oh, well, that happens,
Yeah.
So
We got some time.
You're at least going to have one person, because one person walked into the Roasterito today wanting 2 growlers of beer because they're going to watch this show and they wanted to drink my beer as they were watching the show. So I thought
there
that
you
was
go.
A guy named Matt. Was he with his wife?
no. I can look back.
Hey,
Speaking of Matt,
Yeah.
Matt's a good guy who likes to he likes to drink along too, and it's really awesome. Sometimes we have too many beers, and I can tell he's drinking along as it goes. It was him.
It was him. Oh yeah. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, it was great. I mentioned you already. That was awesome.
Wow. Okay, cool. Well, your reputation precedes you, Matt. He also is in case you want to know more about Matt, he's also quite the smoker and barbecuer, which will definitely come in handy this weekend. What are you gonna be doing, Matt? What are you gonna be cooking up for the Memorial Day long weekend? Type faster. I'm kidding. Oh, nice. Oh, well, he's busy. Okay. Well, he can't type. His hands are busy. So, what's the calorie count on this beer? I wouldn't normally ask that of anybody. Do you know?
Yes, it's a 137 based upon Beersmith software.
Not bad.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit. The first beer I did was 122.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually right at the point of us getting the ABC permit. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that, because we had kind of started brewing a little bit there before.
They don't listen.
Yeah, and then this one I put in just a little extra specialty malt just to give it more of a mouthfeel.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, 137 is not bad for a 4.8% beer too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty significant alcohol percentage.
Yeah, 4.8 to 5.2 is basically my limit at this point in my life.
What's that?
4.8 to 5.2 is kind of my limit at this point in my life. I just can't. It's
really.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do the bigger beers, but you want to drink more than 1 or 2, and I just feel like, oh man, it goes right to my head.
I got you.
Yeah. Yep.
I can relate, especially when you are out there doing activities. I always find that that's the thing. I'll go on a hike or something like that, and then on the way back, I'm like, all I can think about is that beer I'm going to have.
Yeah,
it'll be great, and it just goes straight to my head. And next thing you know, I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Because you just sweat everything out. You just did all that activity, and it's just it gets you.
Yeah. Totally.
And then your friends come over and they say they have a bourbon barrel aged beer, but it's just bourbon.
Oh yeah.
That one happened one time with Abel. They came over for my birthday and they're like, we have this really great barrel aged beer. I'm like, well, that must have been one wet barrel. We're drinking it. Like, I don't think this is beer.
Oh yeah, that was a great story.
It was uncut whiskey from a barrel, and I got ripped. That birthday was kind of a lost day.
Well, the fun part about that was that we got that bottle like 2 years ago, prior to this, and so we've been like holding on to it. It was an anniversary bottle from Carl Strauss, and it was a gift to my roommate, and so we were just like, oh, we should open it for my birthday, which my birthday was before Brandon's, and I was like, and we never drank it because we ended up getting drunk, and then we just kind of like kept carrying it everywhere with us. We took it to Big Bear, we took it to like New Year's party in a hotel, then took it to Brandon's house, and finally we opened it up. Yeah, and it's just like,
oh, I'm glad you did.
I was like, oh, does beer like burn off somehow? Like, how is this a straight, like, I don't know what's in this. No.
There's no roast in this. There is like nothing. Carbonation, none.
Oh, man.
I think
I still have that bottle, too. I think we just funneled everything back in the bottle. We're like, yeah, we'll just drink something else. All right, guys. I'm going to start the show.
All right.
Ready? Everybody ready?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. The intro.
Hey, welcome to the Indie Beer Show. You might have noticed we're one person down, but that only makes us leaner and meaner. Well, leaner. We're not meaner. We're pretty nice people, I think. Dan can tell us when we're done. So this is Dan Romeo from One Season Brewing at TRVLR Coffee down in Grantville. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We're glad to spend time with craftspeople of all kinds. And you are like I want to say dual, but you actually have 3 craft beverages that you're producing at your place. But we'll get into all of that great stuff. First, it's kind of like we need to, I don't think a lot of people are familiar with your business yet. So we really want to get people into that. And first, we'll find out about you. So tell us where you came from and how you got into the SD beer scene.
Yeah. So long story short, I was in accounting and finance for 15 plus years. End of 2017, just kind of left the job. Wanted to just do something with my hands. Wanted to meet people. Wanted to connect at a different level than just in an office. And I wanted to. I figured coffee roasting would be a good avenue, a good conduit to kind of meet all those requirements that I wanted. I just didn't want to sit behind a computer. And from there, I obviously COVID kind of changed things, and I had to pivot from just doing all wholesale coffee roasting up until the beginning of last year. I started concocting all these different ideas, and we got into kombucha making and now beer brewing as well. So I do this all from the Grantville location, and trying to keep everything small batch and just trying to have fun at the end of the day.
I find it ironic that you wanted to get out from behind a computer, and here you are. So
this is the kind of the kind of meetings or where that you would dream of in an office. This is great.
Oh, definitely. And on that note, we have beer, which makes it a way better meeting. So you were kind enough to bring this to us. It's your newest creation. So could you tell us all about it, please, while we drink it?
Yeah. So this beer and hopefully many more to come. The whole One Season, just the 30,000 foot is a day like today. San Diego, I was walking the beach in February and trying to think of like what name I should be picking for this brewery. And I had several in my head, and it's a winter morning, quote unquote, and I'm walking on the beach, walking my dog, and it's 65 degrees, beautiful sunrise. And I was like, there's only one season here. I'm like, and I just thought about my family back in the East Coast, and I'm like, it's miserable there. And then I basically went back to my apartment, and I was like, One Season Brewing. That's it. I mean, that's the name. So along those lines, I was like, all right, well, what can I do to be a little different and kind of just be authentic to like who I am and whatnot, and kind of what I think people would like. And I was like, what? I'm just going to do just all different styles of light beers, Mexican lagers, things that I really just want to kind of crush. You want to have a nice, refreshing drink on a hot, sunny day. And sometimes if it's that hot day, you just can't have a big, beefy beer. You need to have something just light and refreshing. I always joke around with people that I want the beers to be so refreshing that you want to pour them over ice, but you don't. But it would be, if you dump it over ice, it would be like, that would be great. It'd be really cold and refreshing. So this beer, just calling it Found the Light. Just kind of I think that's one of the best things that I'm kind of getting used to is naming beers, kind of silly names, and kind of having fun with it. So I found the Light, ITE, and just a light kind of just an entry level type of beer that hopefully puts One Season on the map, and kind of like I want to go kind of plus or minus this beer a couple notches in each way, and then obviously do coffee beer and stuff like that as well, because obviously I'm a coffee roaster as well. So but yeah, this is just a 4.8% alcohol, calling it like American light lager, used Cascade hops, and just super easy to drink. If it's not easy to drink, I really don't want to be brewing it.
It's going to make all the other light lagers jealous because it's 4.8. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got a nice aroma. It's got a good mouthfeel to it too. I'm enjoying this right now.
It doesn't just disintegrate on your palate. It sits there a little bit, which is nice. And you definitely don't get that from watery, traditional American light ITE lagers. So it's already got that craft thing going for it. And
then you can definitely hide it in your coffee cup, at work and stuff. So
yeah. Or you're maybe if you're going on a hike, you put it in your Camelback. I don't know.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, now you're talking.
Yeah. But I mean, the hops, just kind of moving forward is like, I wanted to be taking like kind of like the floral, the fruitiness, not the bitterness in kind of every one of the drinks. I'm sure. I mean, I know eventually I'll be doing an IPA. I'm sure I'll be exploring in those type of things, but I think like when you go to a bar in North Park, we were talking about North Park before. 9 out of 10 taps are kind of like IPAs. I kind of want to flip that, and maybe like 9 or 8 of the beers are kind of like light style beers, but they're super flavorful. So if you went down the list, every one would be completely different experience. And that's what I'm kind of like trying to pull off. We'll see.
That's cool. And I like that you've accepted the IPA almost inevitability, because so many places when they open, they tell you what they're not going to do, and it drives me nuts. It's like, look, don't tell me what you're not going to do. Just tell me what you're going to do, and that we have to walk something back later. It's so embarrassing. It's like, we're never going to make a hazy. We're never going to make an IPA. We're never going to do this. Just tell me what you are going to do, and it's great. And I like your ratios. I think that sounds great, and it works with your concept. But speaking of great names, Roast Arito, the roast. I love it. Anyways, you say it much better than me, but it's such a multifaceted place. There you go.
Yeah.
But if you could tell us a little bit about, it's grown over time into becoming more than what it started as. Just tell us about how you came up the idea of every phase of it, and at what point beer became part of the equation.
Sure. So, when I found this Grantville location, it was basically in the middle of nowhere as far as I'm concerned, but there's a lot of other breweries and coffee shops that are in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, kind of, if you build it, they will come. If you give people an experience, they're going to find you. They're going to want to come back because it's an experience. You're just not selling a beer. You're selling experience. So the whole Roastarito, I went down to Rosarito. And when I was down there, I was like, I'm like, man, Roastarito. I'm like, maybe I can make kind of like a fun concept out of that. I don't know why anyone hasn't thought of that yet for like a coffee roasting facility. And it seems like the trend now, that people name their facilities, and everyone has like a cute name. So I'm like, as a joke, I was like, I'm calling this the Roastarito. And I started blasting it out on Instagram, and months went by, and I was like, didn't really hear anything back. And then one of my buddies one day, he messages me. He's like, I'll meet you at the Roastarito in 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, it's working. Like, the name stuck. The name stuck. And I'm like, oh, maybe I have something here. And then I've been kind of playing. I put it on some shirts. And I always say, I have a sign in the warehouse, welcome to the Roastarito, beans, booch, and brew house. And so it's just, but to your point, like, it's kind of morphed. So it was coffee roasting only. It was the Roastarito. Now it's, this whole experience. And that's the one unique thing about the warehouse is I wanted to make it this place where everyone that walks in says this is completely different. And I'm willing to drive here again, or I'm willing to tell a friend about it because it's really different. And that's the kind of the thing that I went through, during the whole COVID process when I was sitting there game planning of, okay, I have to kind of pivot into a different phase here of what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, a name like the Roastarito is kind of symbolic of what I've said a couple times already, is that I just want to have fun, and hopefully, I can make a life out of it, and it's just it's about having fun at the end of the day. If I didn't want to have fun, I would never have left the job in the first place, and I would be sitting somewhere else, So it's like I left my accounting and finance position to be on an adventure, and that's why I initially called the coffee roasting company Traveler. TRVLR, because it's all about the journey. And, it's kind of cliche, but I figure if you're living it, it's not cliche anymore. It's kind of like this experience too. And I didn't know that Traveler would take me on all these different adventures as in terms of One Season, in terms of the Roastarito, in terms of meeting all these great people and being on the show right now. So the Traveler is not just me or what it's our lives. It's everybody. It's you, it's everybody. It's how we got here. And that's kind of like the path that I'm on. And that's the mantra that I'm kind of sticking with.
That's moving. That's really good. that's almost goosebump inducing,
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm glad your journey is going really well. It almost started in North Park. I know that was originally you had secured a spot there. So maybe tell us about that and what happened and how you eventually ended up in Grantville.
So, I mean, this is like, this has been the journey from the beginning. So I left the job that I have as CFO of a marketing agency, production company. And within a few months, I was like, you know what? I got to start purchasing things. I bought a roaster. If I don't start doing something, I'm going to go back to the work. I'm going to go back to the office. So I started plugging and playing, and I found this lease on University Ave in North Park. And I signed it, and it's like, you know what? I done all my homework, I thought, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go into this. I have to take that step. If you don't take that step, you'll never do it. And it's just about taking that jump. And a year went by, and the landlord didn't give me the space. He was retrofitting it, for earthquakes, and he was doing all this work, and they failed inspections. And finally, I had to get out of the lease. I'm like, it's been a year. I had stuff. I had a roaster in a box that I was paying for, wasn't opened up. I started searching for other locations. Somehow, the guys from West Bean Coffee Roasters were moving out of the facility in Grantville, this warehouse, and moving to, I think, Point Loma is where they moved to, much bigger space. So I just immediately signed that lease without even getting out of the other lease. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I wanted for a retail coffee roasting, and I wanted to do a coffee roaster bike shop. So I wanted the traveler concept. And to your point of, talking about the bikes and the skateboards and one wheels, and eventually I want to get into surfboards. I wanted an active lifestyle store for San Diegans, but that had the conduit would be coffee. So you would come in for the coffee experience, and then you would have all these other things that meet your lifestyle. I feel like some of the retailers, kind of get it wrong, where you're only going to go there once a year to buy something. But if there was a coffee, if there was beer, if there was something else to bring you in almost daily, or meet in groups and bring people in, that would be a much better, it would be an experience versus just, it's a retail store.
And so by retail, you're talking about like the REIs and the Big Fives and things like that,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, those type of stores. Is I've always REI is a great example. You only go there once a year, maybe to buy a jacket, but there's so many groups and so many hikers and adventure seekers and snowboarders that if there was something that would draw them in, and think about like Red Bull and like the adventure sports, like they're like this, right? I mean, like everything adventure, extreme sports, extreme athletes, Red Bull owns. They just if you drink Red Bull, by default, almost you're willing to jump off a building. It's like it doesn't matter. You can do whatever.
I knew there was a reason I never had Red Bull.
Yeah, yeah.
I am not willing to do any of that. But.
Yeah,
it gives you wings.
Neither am I. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so long story short, I guess, kind of, then I ended up getting out of that lease, thankfully. And then I found this space. So I went from like a retail shop to, oh my goodness, now I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have to start doing wholesale coffee. I don't know anything about wholesale coffee. I still don't. I always say I'm still trying to learn and figure it out in terms of pricing and whatnot. And, trying to business development. I went from a place that, maybe has 5,000 people walk by it every single day in North Park to, 2. And most of those people are coming out of the creek. It's like it's not a good spot. So to that, I was like, all right, now I have to make this. And I went through all 2019 business development, coffee roasting, building the book of business, and then obviously just collapsed at the beginning of 2020. So then I was like, all right, now it's plan D, F. I don't know what I'm on, but I have to like reinvent myself again. So I was like, you know what? I got to start building I got to start doing what I wanted to do in North Park, but in this location here. And if I could do it here, I can do it anywhere. And if I can make the concept and the experience, like I keep on emphasizing, great enough, people are going to feel it. And they're going to be like, this is something unique. And it stands kind of on its own. And it's like, not because I'm brewing the greatest beer in the planet. No, but because it's giving people this thing that just doesn't exist. And that is the Roasterito.
I love it. And I love the fact that you just went for it. It's like, I can't wait for the right location to occur. Yeah. But I mean, you're almost proving the concept in a place where it'd be even more difficult. And then when and if you ever should move to an even more high profile spot, you'll have the competence and probably a million ideas from executing it over a period of time, looking at it every day and saying, in the next spot, if I do this, I could do this and do this, and all your ideas can just be realized. I think it's really great that you're just making it happen, especially during a pandemic. But what are all of the different aspects of it that are there. So we know you have beer, we know you have coffee.
Yep.
What else do you have? And as far as the items you can purchase, I'm still even kind of vague about that, and I've written about you.
Yeah. So there's a kind of like there's three different things going on. The one is the espresso bar, which is open, basically 9 to 3 every day. So from the espresso bar, obviously all sorts of drinks that we can make there, from anything roasted. We do pour overs of whatever we've roasted that's fresh. Then the kombucha, nitro, cold brew on tap, ready to go, and growlers or whatnot. People can just come in and swing in and get that. The other, I guess, half of the experience is what I'm calling the traveler experience. That's the thing I wanted to do in North Park, but now I'm doing it in Grantville in the Roasterito, and that's the okay. It's got the biking. It's got skateboards from a company, Magneto in Carlsbad. They make custom bamboo. I'm their first retailer. It's got the one wheels, which are really, really cool. And it's got this whole wall. I call it like kind of the fun house, like this one wall of just all these cool little products. And it basically say, I'm not going to sell, something that doesn't fit into a San Diego lifestyle. I'm trying to keep as true to that as possible and things that San Diegans want. So I got these right now, 3 things, and state bicycles as well. So fixed gears and city bikes, things that if you were in North Park, you could cruise around. If you were in PB, you would cruise around. I'm not going to be selling, high-end $5,000 bikes. I want things that anyone can get and that, can get you just moving around town to a bar or, to the farmer's market. And then the last portion of it is the One Season Brewing, which I decided to I didn't want it to go into the Traveler. I didn't want Traveler beer because I wanted to make sure that there was a complete clear line between, okay, this is the coffee and this is the alcohol side of it. And so then I came up with the One Season Brewing. And so, yeah, you come in and you're kind of hit with it's almost like sensory overload. There's a lot of things going on. And and that's what I needed to do. Field of Dreams. I had to make it some eye-opening experience, because it's all, very plain on the outside, which that's going to change. I actually bought a big, 8 by 4 foot poster we're putting on the outside because people can't even see my spot because it's so nondescript. And yeah, so we're getting there. So on the outside, it looks very, very like a warehouse. You walk in and all of a sudden, there's bikes hanging on the ceiling and so on and so forth. So it's it's an experience, and that's what I keep on pushing.
And for me, it's kind of hard to envision. What is the layout? Okay, so you show up, and how do you have all of this under one roof? And how many square feet are we talking? And just kind of take me through, give me a mental visual here so I can imagine I'm there, I suppose.
I've learned that I'm a very good mover and that everything needs to be on wheels. So the space is only about 1,200, 1,300 square feet. So the front office is now my kombuchery. That's where I make all the kombucha. It's always dark. I have all the glass jars and the scobies and everything in there. And the front lobby is where all the fermenters are, and hopefully more in the near future. And as you walk through the lobby, then you're opening up to this big 15, 20 foot ceiling type of 30 foot wide, 60 feet deep type of space. And that's and I got a little too creative. I kind of painted a road on the ground as well. It was just one day. It was in October or something of last year, and I was like, you know what, kind of something to kind of get everyone's eyes going in the right direction as they walk through this. And I kind of painted a road on the ground. I really regretted that in the heat of October last year. But anyways, it turned out really cool, and it kind of works with everything. And you walk in, and then on the right side is just all your beans and the coffee roasting machine, which it really surprises me when I opened this retail concept in the 4th quarter of last year, officially, how many people were coming in and they asked me, "Are you a coffee roaster? Do you roast coffee here?" And I'm like, "Oh, of course it's TRVLR Coffee Roaster." And they go, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "That's the machine." They don't even know that that's a coffee roasting machine. It's like the size of about double the size of a refrigerator. And it's amazing how many people don't even know what a coffee roaster even looks like. And if you think about it, how many coffee places have coffee roasters in them? Not too many. Most people are just buying and selling other people's beans. And then, you go along, and then there's the wall on the left is just all the bikes and the skateboards and the one wheels, some merchandise that we're trying to get out. And then towards the back corner is all the brewing equipment and stuff like that. So it's like sensory overload, and I think in a good way. And and it's just a pretty exciting place to be.
I like that it's something so unique because it's really hard in a county with so many breweries to really come across as unique. And even the brewing program that you have going is pretty different. You just like, this is this kind of path painted on the ground path I want to go down as far as my beer styles that I'm going to handle. It's pretty great.
Yeah. I mean, it's a path that you want to travel down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. or pedal or one wheel. However you travel. However you travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dan, we like to play this little game called What We Drank. I don't know if you've seen it. It's pretty much what's the last beer that you drank either before the show or yesterday that you would like to talk about. I'll give you some time to think about it. I will go first on mine. Over the weekend, I decided to go up to Orange County to this little magical city. But I won't talk about that. I have to pay them money if I say their name. And so I stayed. I stayed the night up there in Anaheim, and then I went to a couple of breweries the next day. And of course, before I came home, I swung by Green Cheek, and I got a couple 6-packs or 4-packs, whatever they were. And so the last beer that I drank, which is Green Cheek's been one of my favorites of all times. It's the Clutter of Spiders West Coast IPA. Even the bird here, what's his name? Squawky? I forget what they called him. Cheeky the bird. Says, I hate spiders, but I love IPAs. And I'm okay with spiders. I don't hate them, but I do love IPAs. This one has got a lot of Citra and Strata in it. It's like a 6.8, pretty low on a West Coast style IPA, but which I think. And it was, I mean, I don't know, it's crushable to me. I can drink these things all day long.
Yeah.
So, but Brandon, so what did you drink?
Nothing as adorable as that. I mean, come on, Cheeky doesn't like spiders, but he likes IPAs. I mean, that's just cute as hell. I don't even know what to say. I guess I just said it. I had Firestone Walker 2015 Hell Dorado, which is a barrel-aged blonde barley wine that they do. It's massive, and it was really, really delicious. It tasted really citrusy, even though it was kind of older. It almost had this like Grand Marnier type character to it, which was kind of fun, except sans the sweetness. I really enjoyed it. A friend of mine came down from Las Vegas who I haven't seen in years, and we went to a couple breweries, took him to Pizza Port and Epic, and then for some reason we decided to start drinking imperial stouts and barrel-aged barley wines. I'm almost over it. But we had
what's been good? It's been good seeing you out and about, Brandon.
Oh, it's been good to be out.
Seeing your Instagram, and you're posting photos of the games, and you're just at places now. It's like, I'm not there, which I haven't got the invite, TITI, but
Well, I'll work on that. Because I'd love to see it. We actually have plans to go down to North Park, so I'm looking forward to our North Park night. It's going to be great.
Nice.
Yeah, what can I say? It's North Park. If only they had a great beery coffee REI, it would be. I mean, it'd be the perfect place. But I guess they missed out on that one.
I guess we'll just have to start at One Season and then come into North Park.
There you go. It's on the way. I'm only about 2.4 miles away.
Oh gosh, yeah. I never thought about the distance. It's really very short, huh?
As long as we don't walk into JT's, we're going to be perfectly fine.
So I'm directly behind JT.
I know exactly. My roommate's ex roommate was the bartender at JT. Still is the bartender. So we've had a lot of party nights there doing karaoke and mind erasers.
Yeah.
Mind erasers.
That place is always busy. It's I mean 2 in the morning. It's packed. Yeah.
So now, what was the last thing you drank, sir?
It was actually Pure Project. I think it might have been the first one that I've ever had from them. I forget the name. It was their Pilsner.
Rain.
Yeah, it was stunning. I mean, it was just super clean, refreshing, light. I mean, but it's super flavorful. I mean, it was just a nice carbonation. I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I'm like, this carbonation's perfect. It's just it's carbonated just perfectly. I forget the name of it, but that was that. And then a couple days ago, I drank the St. Archers. They came out with the Yosemite edition. I think it was a Pilsner again. Yeah, I forget the name of it. Maybe they're just selling it at Costco. It was the Yosemite edition. All the cans are Yosemite art. and it was Pilsner. It was same thing. It was just really great. It was just nice. Yeah. I mean, you can tell the styles of beers I like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that Reign doesn't get nearly enough credit. They make all those murky beers and all those fun stouts, and but man, that Reign is just one of the great pilsners here in San Diego County, and kind of gets overlooked because everything else is just so bold and interesting. Okay, well, that's good about their beer, but we want to hear about your beer. So let us know what you already brewed. We know that you have this beer here, and what might be around the corner for you.
So one of the things I'm working on is a darker version of this that I want to do eventually with coffee. And then I'm not going to say it, but since I am a roaster, there's potentially things I'm going to roast and put into the beer. So obviously we know what that could possibly be. Certain grains. So so that's like my side project right now as well. To work on that, just to give something else for me to do. But the coffee, a nice coffee stout, lighter coffee stout is definitely in the future, and a nice Mexican lager is going to be in the future. One that I love in San Diego is the Harlan Mexican lager. Harlan Brewing, they absolutely just crush that one. I just love that one to death. It's like that's like something that I would love to try to come close to in terms of their quality.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, they're not too far really. You just get on the 15 and you can go ask them how they do it. I'm sure they'll tell you all of that, and then you can just make your own. It's just like theirs.
Yeah.
Coincidentally. Hey, how do you scale this down to a barrel?
Matt Babineau says the roast green tea to make an IPA.
Green tea, make an IPA. We can try it.
That didn't sound too. It didn't sound like you're really committed. Now, so I was pointing over at Abel earlier because Abel loves the coffee beer. Like his favorite styles of beer. Pretty much, if you put coffee in it, he will come. Wait, I didn't mean like that. I meant like Field of Dreams.
Yeah, him and I talked about it before. I mean, Fall Brewing's one of my favorite spots I go to all the time.
Yeah.
And the 2 a.m. bike ride is like my favorite. It's got with the Dark Horse Coffee brand company.
Yeah.
But it's a very low ABV too, which is like I can drink a lot of it and not feel like I'm walking out with like a 12% or like stout.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorites. And we were talking about my favorites like the bacon and eggs from Pizza Port, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm a other than being short, I'm a stout guy.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good. I mean, Modern Times, obviously Black House has a good one, but
yes,
I think I probably just drank too many of those over the course of these years to really appreciate that it's epicness. It's like one of those things that it's always so accessible that I wish I had some of these, like they were harder to get, so for it. Yeah. And then a few years ago, in North Park, the home brewer did a coffee stout. They actually did it in collaboration with Young Hickory, the coffee joint in North Park, and used Bird Rock coffee. And that wasn't mass produced, but that's like, I still have the can from that one because that was excellent. It was just so smooth. It was just dynamite. It just light, like it was just beautiful.
Well, years ago, like at Toronado, they used to do a coffee stout fest. They only did like 2 years though, because it started at 9 a.m. and nobody was really showing up.
Really?
Well, I showed up, but there wasn't that many people. They showed up later.
Was it a weekday? Is that why?
It was like on a Sunday. It was like at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and it's like, well, everybody's out partying Saturday night. They're all hungover. And
no, they're at church.
Well, that too. I was at church. I was at Toronado Church. So
No, I meant Churchill's. They were at Churchill's.
Oh, they're at Church Hills. Yeah, that's a far drive.
Yep. Yeah.
So, now, TRVLR is a destination. You want to make it a destination, and I think that probably with the state opening up June 15th, you'll probably be able to do more things along those lines. Do you have any events, any programming, any initiatives that you want to debut now that you'll be able to do things like that? There'll be able to be more gathering.
Yeah, no. So I really wish I had something firm, but those are, now with everything opening up, we definitely want to do more. We're going to be using the outside space. My landlord, thankfully, has given me permission. Basically, once the place closes, other businesses around me at 5 p.m. during the weekdays and the weekends, I can use everything, the parking lots and everything like that. Because I told him that was part of the deal. If I'm doing this, I need more space than my 1,200 square feet inside. It's just not. It's not good. So yeah, no, I wish I had something really firm, but there's a bunch of obviously food trucks and music and stuff like that. I definitely want to have an official like kind of launch party for One Season. To do that though, I need to ramp up some beer production. I can't have just one barrel sitting around with people coming. So yeah, I need to get a few more barrels going and go from there. But yeah, stay on the lookout. There's going to be definitely events because I want to make it obviously, a place that, that there's something going on and that you're going to want to stay for a few hours and hang out. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of events.
Okay, awesome. And do you have any, is there anything that is firm as far as things that are coming down the pipe for you or coming down the road painted on the ground? Are you going to start making, maybe, I don't know, wine, start making meads, start making ciders, start making seltzers? I mean, why not?
Well, I don't know if I have the space, but maybe if I put it on wheels. But what I did last year, which we're going to do this summer for coffee, is that in the wintertime, I went to Cutwater Spirits and I got a 5-year-old bourbon barrel. And I put a lot of Guatemalan coffee in it. And it came out tasting like a pot still. It was absolutely beautiful. Wow. And so I'm going to do a summer one with rum. And so that's something that I'm working on right now. That takes like 3-4 weeks to really to get that coffee right in the barrel. So that's something that's coming, that's non-alcoholic. And then everything else, nothing planned at this point. So just trying to, yeah, I mean, who knows what I come up with next? We'll see.
Well, I have 2 questions about that. So first off, is the rum barrel also from Cutwater? Yes.
Yeah. So I'm in touch with one of those guys over there. And actually, the really funny story is one of the founders of Ballast Point, which I'm sure Yasif, he connected with me about 2 months ago, wanting to know how the initial bourbon coffee turned out because he heard that I purchased.
Oh, wow.
So he reached out to me. We went back and forth. We were supposed to get on the phone a couple of times. It always fell through, but we've been going back and forth on email about just the bourbon coffee and how it went and what kind of coffee I used and why I used it and how long I roasted it and stuff. And I told him I'm going to do another one with rum for the summer because I figure that's kind of a summery type of thing, and
Sure.
And maybe come up with even some kind of drink with it, in the warehouse as well. But or the roasterito, I should say, as well. And yeah, so that was cool. So it's like it's amazing. Like you connect with people to the point I said earlier about you just beer is just this wild network of people, and it's incestuous here, and everyone kind of knows everybody, and somehow he's messaging me, and so I was like, oh, you're a legend, and so it's like little old me. So it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. Now, I've always wondered about this whole coffee, barrel-aged coffee. What is kind of the technique behind it? It's not just as simple as filling the barrel, is it? I mean, is there a rotation that has to be made to make sure there's more contact? And
totally, you can't put too much coffee in the barrel, and that's kind of like the shame of it because obviously you have to buy the barrel, and you want to make sure it's able to turn, and you want to rotate it as many times as you want. But you do it daily, a couple times a day, whatever it might be. And then I was playing around with like taking little samples out, like, how long I should have it in there. And it was like, after like a couple of weeks, I was like, holy moly, this tastes straight up. This is bourbon. This is unbelievable. And then I tried to pick a bean that I thought would kind of go with the bourbon flavor in terms of like the flavor profile. And then I took a bean that I thought had a little bit more moisture content because in my thinking it was going to absorb more of the flavor because there was more moisture in the bean because it was going to soak it up when it was in the concealed bourbon barrel for a while. And I think it really turned out well. So I think maybe my thinking was right there. And then I kind of roasted it very lightly because I didn't want too much of that bourbon to come off in the machine. I didn't want to just burn it right off. So I went really like a light blonde roast. And then when you literally you made it in your kitchen and the whole house smelled like a whiskey. still. It was just beautiful. I mean, it was just, it was amazing. It was great.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right? Can we make a candle that smells like that? You know, these scented candles? That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. I'd love to know, for everyone listening, what are the best ways to keep up on everything One Season Brewing?
So the best way is Instagram. One.season.brewing is the handle on Instagram. I have the same thing on Facebook. But for my own sanity, I just do everything on Instagram and then push it to Facebook. So
Sure.
it's a little duplication there, but I'm sorry. But yeah,
It's like I'm kind of busy, everybody. I'm kind of busy.
If it doesn't have wheels on it, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Instagram is one of those things I can't wait to get a little bigger so I can start I mean, I like doing it, but I tell you what, some of the posts, I'll sweat for 30 minutes over that thing. I just don't want to put anything out there. And I just I just want to make sure it's something valuable, kind of like someone would see and they would actually like. And it's just like a nerve-wracking experience for me. I don't like it at all.
Well, thank you for sharing our posts.
Yeah.
Well, you're putting so much care into it. That's great.
Yeah, I love sharing. Sharing is a home run. That's easy for me. I really appreciate that, and that's one of the coolest things. Just as you get a little bit older, the 3rd+ year of doing Traveler now One Season, it's the fan base is getting a little bigger. More people are coming in now because I have retail, and more people go out and they post it and they share it. And I always think that's like the greatest compliment in the world. And I'm just always so blown away by that. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. They I did that or I brewed that, or I made that, and they told their friends about it, and I was like, it's amazing. I love
taking the time is, it's like the ultimate compliment, right?
It is totally. Yeah, I love it, and it never gets old. And it's always I pinch myself. I'm like, this is why I left my job to do this, because it's just those moments make it all worth it.
Well, one.season.brewing.
Yep.
If you ever want to feel good about sharing something, there you go. This is somebody who will appreciate it.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah. Bring it my way. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Now it's time to talk to people who are out there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, is it time for the Patreon roll call?
Yeah, it sure is.
I would have a drum roll, but I don't. Forgive me because I'm going off an old list. I might miss somebody, and then me and Brandon will talk about it afterwards. But our Patreons, if it wasn't for them, helping us out to have the show, to bring people like Dan on and having this crazy looking graphics in the bottom and making us look good. Our Patreons are Ben, Bill, Brian, Krista from Pariah, Brian Gould, Captain Eli, Casey, Dan Diego's, Dante, the second best producer in all the lands, David Martin, Doug, Four Brewers Podcast, Garen from Beer Alien, Greg.
Hey,
Greg
nice hike, Garen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He went on that. Nice. Yeah. And then, of course, the Indie Beer Show brand, COVID-19 pandemic, socially distant, Zorball, LLC. Thanks to Greg and Maggie. Hoppy Craftsman Podcast, James, Jared, Jason, Jess from Ale Tales, Joaquin, Joseph, Joey from Hoppy Beer Girl, Juan, Judith, Kenneth, honorary patron for life, Larry Smith, Liz Bauer, Matt, and Candace Babineau, which they were here and you met the other day. Matt from The Perfect Pour, Miguel, Mr. Peacock from Tapcraft, Mike, Norman, OC Brew Girl, Pacific Beer Chat, Robert from 13 Point Brewery, Rudy, the artist, Sergio, Tamales Les Goladinas. Is that how you say it? I don't know. And then
it sounded lovely coming off your lips.
There was another one you asked me about.
We got Brian Beagle.
Brian Beagle. That's right. God, who is that Brian Beagle guy? He's a really nice guy to help us out here. But and Daniel Womack, and then of course Brandon's favorite pun of all time, Vegas Vay. I mean Vegas J, but he's not in Vegas anymore. But yeah,
no,
there you go.
But one of the people on the show is, so there taking up his spot, just slide right into his spot there. Worked out great.
And then also, since I just said all that, now we also have our upcoming shows. Of course, we're doing every other week, bi-weekly. So June 10th, we got Harlan Brewery, which you were just talking about, Dan.
Brilliant Mexican style lager.
So yes, we're gonna bring them on the next show. So, and then Anorexia.
Well done.
Yes, I'm sober. That's what happens. Anorexia Brewery on June 20.
Opening tomorrow. So.
That's it's opening tomorrow. Oh, nice. June 24th. Yeah. They're going to come on the show, and then July 8th, this little brewery that did something with some guy named Joe Musgrove. I have no idea who the Joe Musgrove guy is. Resident Brewery is going to be on here on July 8th, and then July 22nd it's going to be Pizza Port, which is one of my favorites.
Hometown heroes, Pizza Port Brewing. Very cool. Now, if you want to ask any questions, just hit us up at cheers@indie.beer, or, slide into our DMs, do stuff like that, whatever you need to do. But we're more than happy to ask questions that you have for these folks. So we know you care about beer, and so do we. So let's team up. But yeah, this has been a great show. I really learned a lot of things today. Now I can, age coffee beans almost. I learned some stuff on our bi-week bonus that we recorded before this show. So you're going to want to tune in for that too next week. But sweet, this was really good. We appreciate you taking the time. And
Thanks,
I'm sorry that your house got so dark. I almost want to let you go before it's completely black.
Well, I wanted to get up. It wasn't this dark 45 minutes ago, and I was like, I've been thinking that the last 10 minutes. I'm like, it looks like I'm in a jail cell right now. Yeah, but I didn't want to get up in mid show and turn the light on.
I say it's like a rock concert. You start out as the daylight's out, and by the time you're done, it's like, it's pitch black.
Sorry. You know what? I mean, you're always going to be one step better than Tyson Blake from O'Brien's when we had him on.
So
he did his show in the garage, and there was like no light at all, so it was like barely just like teeth and eyes, like that's all you could see.
See, all you can see was his teeth, his eyes, and his giant sweat beads coming off his face the whole time. That was so funny. Well, anyways, but that was that show. This was this show. It was a lot of fun. We really appreciate it, and I hope a lot of people go and check out TRVLR and One Season Brewing, because this was enjoyable, and I can't wait to try the coffee too. Well, thank you, and for Dan, for Abel, for Brandon, for Estella, wherever the hell she is, this has been the Indie Beer Show. Good night.